So by this point, if you've been watching my videos, you know that I've been to quite a few theme parks. If you're new here, hello, I'm Carmen's Travels, and most of my featured videos so far involve amusement parks or theme parks. What's the fun part about this though is that I don't actually like them very much. That's not to say theme parks are never fun, people find amusement in them, which is why they're successful to this very day. However, from my point of view, I feel like these establishments are not as amusing as they claim to be, nor are they really a great investment of time or money, at least for my opinion. So let me show you why I feel this way, and you can tell me how wrong I am in the comments below. So the core of these attractions are their rides, mechanical structures where guests enter and they're usually moved in one way or another, usually to elicit emotion, enjoyment, things like fear, and this concept has obviously been expanded upon over the years and developed even further through faster coasters, more inversions, and revolutionary technology for maximum thrill. To be clear, even though I say I'm not a coaster enthusiast doesn't mean I haven't been on many. I've been in some of the highest level thrill rides at the parks, and so it's not even a matter of being scared of them, but rather my genuine lack of immersion or even enjoyment of many of these so-called thrill rides. All of these extreme thrill rides, however, don't really matter if the core of your park's attractions are lacking. Take Hershey Park for example. While it does have a circuit of thrilling coasters, each with their own identity, like Fahrenheit's thermometer shape and Jolly Rancher's smell generator, many of its non-coasters are so egregiously bland that they can be taken directly from a state fair. Going into the park, it isn't a cohesive experience if your rides don't follow a similar criteria of quality throughout. If you have a ride like Fahrenheit, which is this high-power, extreme thrill ride that's so well made, next to a state fair spinny thing that looks like it's gonna break apart, then I think your park fails in the proper cohesion category. Canada's Wonderland does a somewhat better job at circumventing this issue, although it's not exactly perfect either. While the park is mostly occupied by thrill rides, they're different in their mechanics. Coasters like Leviathan and Behemoth are classic thrill coasters. Vortex and Flight Deck are suspended ones. Windseeker and Drop Tower are heights-based ones. So while there is more diversity in its thrill types, its non-thrill rides are still quite bland overall. Walt Disney World gets brought up as an example for excellent dark rides and attractions of the like, and I can agree on that point. Because of Disney's solidified identity with its brands and concepts, they're able to tell captivating stories in their attractions, in ways that many parks fail to emulate. To me, Disney feels like the exception though, rather than the status quo. The last main point I'll make for rides, I'll say, are the lines. The lines! For signature attractions, also known as the ones with the most money put into them, can be absolute nightmares to stand through. Even the less featured rides can have extreme lineups too, making the final payoff even more annoying. Now I am aware of services like Lightning Lane and the likes, where you can pay to enter an express line, but I want you to listen to this part very carefully. As a customer, you are paying an exuberant amount of money to enter a park and have access to these attractions. But to do so, you must also pay with your time, with upwards of 2 hours give or take for peak attractions. So, to compensate, theme parks allow you to pay them even more money to access the ride sooner, which you already paid for with your entrance fee. The concept alone makes me remember why this video is even being made. You're already paying to be there. That in and of itself should mean you have more fun, but no, you have to pay more to even have the remote amount of fun that could have been had literally in any other attraction. Big stretch. Okay. Now, I've talked about this briefly in my section about Disney, but the theming is half the word theme park. If you're making a park for the amusement of its customers, it needs to have a cohesive theme in its attractions, and the second half is park, how easy it is to navigate the park to reach each attraction. Disney does an excellent job with this, kind of. There's a whole argument that can be made about how they're relying too much on intellectual property for its attractions, making the place less inventive, but the general scale of Disney World's theme is still effective. The rides are more than carts on tracks, but rather an experience that tells you a story and elicits emotion. What theme parks are meant to do in the first place. Each of its areas are themed sections that all follow a specific general concept, immersing guests excellently into what it's trying to convey. Disney parks are also designed for you to loop between them, weaving between attractions or following a general circuit to reach from point A to B. Canada's Wonderland, while obviously not as grand scale as Disney, is a park that is a tad disorganized but overall okay. They have a sanctioned-off bit of land that categorizes their attractions, but some of their names are a bit dubious. Action Zone has some action-oriented rides like Windseeker and Backlot Stunt, and Behemoth. It does seem hastily put together though. Grand World Expo, I think, is the worst offender of this. It's supposed to be themed after the World's Fair, and it's kind of sad. There's Flight Deck and Time Warp, the 2 spin rides, and there's nothing else. It's just kind of bland and empty in that section. Although, I have to give credit where it's due, Wonderland's individual rides do stand well for their theming and uniqueness from each other, they just don't really work well together, so to speak. The park's layout is a series of smaller circles that encompasses one large circle. This allows guests to drop in and out of a path when needed, which is a huge plus from my point of view. Hershey Park, on the other hand, is a whole different story. It has a Y-shaped structure where guests are funneled through Chocolate Town. Apparently this is a recent development, so I have no idea how it was before, yet it's the best part of the park, and it's just a bunch of product placement gift stores. From there we reach a vaguely pioneer-themed area, a giant water park, a faraway zoo, and scattered coasters throughout the park. To me, the structure of this park incentivizes backtracking constantly to the attraction one wants to visit. If you wanted to go to like Fahrenheit, but then wanted to go somewhere else, so like a water park, but then you wanted to go visit the zoo, like it's not cohesive in a sense where you can actually loop between and drop in where you need to. You have to actively make a commitment to leave an area, go to a different area, and then go back to the same area you just were. The theming also is an absolute joke, ranging from okay chocolate attractions to generic carnival aesthetics. By far one of the worst offenders I visited in terms of large-scale theme parks. So where does that leave us? Well, I still don't like theme parks, that much is very obvious, but to be honest, I can't exactly say they are not fun at all. I do have a good time during some rides and attractions. These parks do have effort put into them, and the theming can be a good time overall. But at the end of the day, they are meant for the amusement of others, and if people do want to spend their money and time, that's their business. Well, that's been all for today on Karma's Travels. We'll see you next time, bye for now.